Eddie shit last week. We'd buy one of them tents and have damn expensive. All you get what you pay for. He was working me pretty hard. Got rid of some cows, I think, this spring. They wanted to get rid of everything, but he's got that quarter pasture over there, and he's got to have cows in it. Yeah. It's a nice pasture. But the goddamn neighbor always plants his corn right up to the fence, and then cows reach in there. That's when if he ain't got a hot wire, he ain't drunk. What's that? He still thinks he's four-wheeler. He had to get one with power steering. No. No. I can't think. She had 2 irrigated planes by accident. And I don't remember who farmed it now. That was her. And then, yeah. Yeah, he was. Yeah. I don't know if they had pivots when he was going. Probably nothing. Better than what he did. Yeah. Yeah, good water, good water.
Oh yeah, that was good. They're good. When you get done today, just go ahead and they'll have a sheet up here. You can just bring out and they'll mail you.
Okay. Yep.
How many of these little ones we got?
I don't even know. Don't know. No, wait. Okay.
Here, Lord.
We don't, sell too many peppers.
It's,
So that's what the two regular things. That's what they're doing. And then the white, that's a short one plus. Rick was all worried. Rick was here wondering what we're going to do now.
big market effort.
One of the better
So anyway, that's why we're so heavy for it. I don't know if you want that problem there. Not necessarily.
No, his kids used to shove them down our throats.
No, that's
We'll begin our Stalker Feeder show as soon as the judge is back here in a short period of time. In anticipation of that, if you have Angus Stalker Feeders, bring them to the ring. We'll have 2 classes of Angus. Pick the champion Angus and reserve champion Angus. Move on to Galvy and then Limousine.
That's how you walk send me back then. $1.
No, we used to deal with Donnie. Now when he's down to work,
All right, we're ready to go. Starting off with stocker feeders.
You want us to put them somewhere?
First class that we'll have up here is Angus. It's going to be the male stocker feeders. On deck will be the female. Following the selection of the second class of Angus, we will have the champion and reserve champion Angus stocker feeder.
Maybe Grand Island in 2 years.
Galvin and Limousine, make your way to the ring.
Especially good ones. We've got a lady at home, you know Quinn Hunchesky?
Well, the name's okay. Oh,
He
yeah.
runs up in Texas. He's got an aunt that lives in Portland. She's from Cuba. And she makes them for people. So we get them for the sale and stuff. So I get regular Bohemian kolaches. There's a difference.
Thank you for
You bet. Oh, good to see you. Thanks
You
for
too.
the kolaches. Yeah. I didn't even recognize him. That's actually it's good.
Yes, it is.
How old is he?
Well, 4-H age is 12. He turned 13 on April 5th.
Okay.
So this is his second trip to Louisville.
Yeah.
Well, starting the stocker feeder show off with two bull calves, and both pretty useful. The bigger frame calf, just more performance with him. If you were to change, you may give him a little more strength from hooks to pins and just have a little more stifle, but a good calf that moves very well. And the calf behind him probably has a little more shape to his hip and to his hind leg. He isn't near as elongated though and wouldn't have near the performance, but two very useful bull calves to start the stocker feeder show.
Receiving first place in the male stocker feeder class goes to Reese Barnard. Second place, Baylor Barnard. Reese and Baylor will have entries in this female stocker feeder class as well.
bring her here.
Well, two little girl cows that just aren't real used and just ready to come to the fair. They're both wanting to be a little snotty, but both of them look like they're going to make pretty useful kind of cows. They both have some neatness to them and some femininity to them. The heifer that's going to lead off is the one up to the west. I think she's just a little longer, just a little more pleasing to look at. I think we got to get them just a little more broke, though, before we can really, really appraise them. But two very nice heifers. Let's give them a round of applause as they leave the ring.
First place in the female stocker feeder class goes to Reese Barnard. Second place, Baylor Barnard. Now have selection of the champion and reserve champion, Angus stocker feeder. Reese will have the champions from both classes. The reserves could be on deck. After selection of this one, we will have the Galway breed, followed by Limousine.
Well, we get these heifer calves to where they kind of want to show us what they look like. It's going to maybe take another time, but I think when we can look and appraise, the bulls are showing a little better today, and honestly, this bull calf that won that class is going to make a terrific kind of a bull. So I feel pretty secure in making him your champion stocker feeder. It'll be your Angus bull, and I think logically I'm going to use the bull calf behind him to reserve. Heifer calves are nice, but I think I just can't really get a good look at them. They don't want to be very cooperative. Let's give these two guys a round of applause.
Your champion Angus stocker feeder, shown by Reese Barnard of Beatrice. Reserve champion Angus stocker feeder goes to Baylor Barnard. Those awards, both of them sponsored by Barnard Angus in memory of Dean Goes. At the ring will be the Galway female stocker feeder. This is our lone entry in this breed. Champion Galway stocker feeder is sponsored by On the Hill Ag. If any representative from On the Hill Ag would like to present the award, please come up to the announcer stand. At the gate should be the limousines. We'll follow kind of like we did on the breeding side. Have both the male and the female stocker feeder come in because it's 3OS.
Galway, just one. Is there just one?
I believe there's just one Galvey heifer, and sure, a nice enough springborn female. A lot of power, a lot of performance. She moves really well. Maybe if we were to make her just a little sharper up front, if we were to make her an ideal show heifer, but she's sure a functional, big-bodied kind of female and going to make this young lady a nice cow.
Next up will be the limousine. We'll show all three together, right, Bailey? Three? Yeah. Yep. Congratulations in the Galway division went to Ruby Goes of Cortland. This will be our lone class of limousine. Red Angus should be up at the gate, followed by Shorthorn, and then Scimitar.
Well, a very nice class of limousines. We've got a bigger bull calf, and obviously where he is bigger and older, we can see a little more about where he is and what he's going to be like. He's really desirable as far as his muscle and his performance, like those things about him. The heifer calves get a little tighter. The middle heifer calf is going to be second. Obviously, she's just got a little more to her today, and again, probably just a little bit older, and a nice heifer. Very nice and balanced, just very useful. The baby heifer calf, that's third, obviously is such a baby that it's kind of hard to compare against the other two, but she's attractive, she's sound, just a nice calf that just gives up some overall, just not as old enough to compare them, to be quite honest with you. Two nice heifers and a nice limousine bull to be in this breed.
Champion Limousine Stocker Feeder goes to Carter Sims of DeWitt. That award sponsored by Boyer Limousine, Jay and Carol Boyer family. Reserve Champion, Weston Whitwer of Wymore. That award sponsored by Whitwer Limousine. At the ring will be our lone class of Red Angus. At the gate should be Shorthorn. Then we'll need our first class of Scimitar to come up. The Red Angus Champion and Reserve Champion Awards are sponsored by Scully Estates. If anybody from Scully Estates is present, feel free to come up to the announcer stand and present the award.
Well, definitely a Red Angus heifer that could stand some competition. This heifer is really, really desirable to look at. I like the rib and the volume, and yet there's some strength to her, and she moves pretty darn soundly. Just a very, very nice Red Angus heifer.
Champion Red Angus, shown by Natalie Tronick. At the ring, coming in now will be our Shorthorn class, lone entry. First class of Semitol should be on deck, up at the ring.
Well, a nice pattern, kind of a shorthorn steer to represent the shorthorns. And I think as this calf matures, you may like what you see. He's green enough now. I think as he gets a little older and fills out a little more, he shows us some muscle and some stifle, and pleasing to look at from the side. Definitely got some length. Be nice to see him out here in our champion lineup.
One of that class, calf owned by Sage Holtmeyer of Plymouth. Be our champion shorthorn. Move on to the first class of Semitol. This is going to be your male stocker feeder class. Semitol female stocker feeder should be on deck up at the gate.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave these calves just as they came in, although there is some trade-offs. This kind of blonder colored calf just has a little more body and a little more rib to him. This looks like he's going to be a bigger bodied, more moderate frame calf. I like his type an awful lot. I'd like to change his testicle shape a little bit, and that is a concern. I think we'll have to watch him out as he develops. But today I like his quality and the look that he gives us. The calf that's second has a better set of testicles, and to me that could be a very big deciding factor here in a bit. A long-bodied, free-moving kind of calf that I just like to give a little more width to, a little more shape to, in when you look at the frame that he has, just give him a little more in perspective.
Two purples awarded to the male stocker feeder class. First place, Rachel Beeler. Second place, Seth Dean. Those two animals will come back and compete for the champion and reserve champion Semitol stocker feeder after this class. It's a larger class of female stocker feeders. Following selection of the champion and reserve champion Semitol, moving to the foundation Semitols, we'll have two classes. Male stocker feeder for Semitol, please come to the ring.
Ready?
Stop right there. Three, two, and two.
Well, a very nice class, and one that just doesn't come together very quickly. The heifer that I'm going to use to lead off, I could make her just a rib longer as I compare her to the heifer, especially right behind her. There's just a little more bone work under. She's just a little stronger in the way she's constructed. If I could do that, I'd like her just to elongate her just ever so slightly, but she's strong enough in her makeup. I like the way she gets her neck up out of her shoulder, the femininity that she has and the strength that she has. The second heifer is longer outlined. I like that about her, very level hipped. She's a little finer made. She's not as strong in her hip, doesn't have quite that bone work under her, just not quite as stout, but she is longer, and with that I'm sure she's going to transmit poor performance. When you look at the heifer in 3, when she gets her standing still, I just like the look that she gives us. Maybe not the most feminine headed of this trio, but I like her hip, I like the width between her pins. Where I'd change her is off her hind leg as she walks. Same holds true for the bigger heifer the young man has over on the wall. If he'll bring her out and walk, this heifer could stand up a number of spots, but she just gets a little bit short-strided. Long, level hip, high performance, nice looking kind of heifer, and the young man's done a nice job of preparing her. I'd just like to change her off her hind leg. Heifer behind her, another big stout heifer, quite a bit like the heifer that wins the class, but she's not as good off her hind leg and just a little too short-strided for me. The heifer, the baldy heifer behind her, I think as she gets just a little more mature and gets rid of that old hair, I think I'll appreciate her more. She looks a little dull today, but a good kind of female. A heifer that completes the class, very sound, very smooth in her joints, just doesn't have the muscle shape of those in front of her.
Results from the female stocker feeder class receiving top purple. It's a class that consisted of 3 purples, 2 blues, and 2 reds. Luke Katz. Second is Caden Allington. Third, Elsie Warner. Fourth, second entry of Caden Allington. Fifth, Hayden Warner. Sixth, Natalie Dean. And seventh, Mason Sedlacek. In the ring, we will have the competition for the champion and reserve champion Simmental stocker feeder. From the first class, we have Rachel Beeler and Seth Dean. And out of that last class, Luke Katz and Caden Allington. At the gate should be our first class of Foundation Simmental. Also at the gate should be the female stocker feeders for Foundation Simmental. Your Champion Simmental and Reserve Champion Simmental awards both are sponsored by State Line Farm Simmentals, Jim and Ellen Zavonic. Jim or Ellen are here. Please come up to the announcer stand and you can hand out these awards.
Well, a nice foursome. The two bull calves, as I had just out here minutes ago, I like their substance and the look that they have. It concerned me a little bit about the bull I used. I like him over the bull that I placed in second, but I would like to change the way his testicles are developing. But I do like the type of calf that he is. I think the strength, though, probably lies with the heifer calves. To me, there is less I'd change, and obviously that's always a plus for the judge. So your champion stocker feeder heifer will be your champion, and the reserve will be the heifer calf that was second to her. Let's give these two young men a round of applause.
Champion stocker feeder for Simmental goes to Luke Katz of Beatrice. Reserve champion Simmental, congratulations to Caden Allington of Wymore. To the ring now will be the Foundation Simmental. Doesn't look like we have a male stocker feeder for Foundation Simmental, so this would be the female stocker feeders. Out of this class, we will have the champion and reserve champion Foundation Simmental stocker feeder selected as well. Need to have the first class of commercial stocker feeders up at the gate. Those will be the male stocker feeders, followed by the female stocker feeders for a commercial. Last call for male stocker feeders of commercial. Last call, male stocker commercial.
Let's just give them all a purple.
Okay.
It's a very nice class of heifers, folks. Let's give these kids a round of applause. You can obviously make a case for either one of these heifers to win the class. I think there's just more heart girth in the heifer that wins. I think she's got just a little more strength in her body. With that, I think she's just always going to have a little more to her. And she, obviously, these calves are just getting broke. And so when you get her in here and kind of get her to relax and put herself together, she's just very, very neat. And I think there's just a little more in her. She's not maybe as sharp-necked and headed as the heifer in second, but I think she makes up for it in the fact that she's got just a little more constitution, just a little more to her, especially in her heart girth. The heifer in second's extremely neat to look at. I like her look. She got that eye appeal that just says, I'm a good one. I just like to see her be a little stronger, and that's where we compare the two. The two red heifers are both very, very useful. I think as they mature, you're going to like them. This is a class where it's awful hard to put nice heifers like this in third and fourth because they have a lot of look, a lot of future. And that's not to say a thing away from the heifer that completes a class. It's a nice heifer. She's given up some performance to these heifers, but she'll make this young man a very good kind of a cow, and I think she's very, very deserving of a purple ribbon.
Champion Foundation Simmental Stocker Feeder goes to Elsie Warner of Wilbur. Reserve Champion Foundation goes to Carly Rains of Dorchester. Now move on to commercial. First class coming in will be the male stocker feeder class. We'll then have a sizable female stocker feeder class. After that, we will have selection of the champion and reserve champion stocker feeder. Following selection of the commercial breed, we will then go to the overall stocker feeder. So the champion and reserves from all the other breeds that were just completed. After the commercial selection, you will come up and compete for that overall award to round out the day.
Well, in this class calves here in the stocker feeder, we have some bulls that are intact and some that are steers, but I think it makes for a good class. Calves are similar born in age, so there's not a lot of difference in their age, but the yellow calf's probably the oldest calf out here. I mean, he just obviously looks it. But I think with that, he's a good calf. He's got some substance and some width and some durability to him. Obviously, that age where he is a little older is going to make him have an advantage. But I like his structural correctness off his hind leg better than the black calf that's in second. He's an eye-peeling, good-looking calf, but as you watch him walk, he just doesn't have that look and that walk off his hind leg like the yellow calf does in front of him. Then he gets a little more tied up with the three calves that are behind him. I like the younger man's, the third calf, just simply he is more youthful, does have some look and some muscle expression. Black Baldy, I believe he's a steer calf right behind him, gets just a little flatter in his kind. Just like to see him have a little more muscle, much like our calf that completes the class. Just like to beef him up a bit in his rear quarter. Let's give him a round of applause. Nice class of calves.
Results of the Memorial Stocker Feeder class. Class consisting of 2 purples and 3 blues. First place, Lane Schnelly. Second goes to Savannah Mason. Third, Gage Argo. Fourth, Jacob Wallenberg. And fifth, Miley Gaddy. Entering the ring is our last class of the day for commercial. This is your female stocker feeder class. Following selection of this, we will need to have Lane and Savannah from the last class come back to compete for the overall champion and reserve champion commercial stocker feeder. All breed winners from our previous breeds, grand and reserve champions, please bring your animals to the ring. Once commercial is selected, we will do the overall stocker feeder to round out the show today. Last call for all champion and reserve champion breeds. Last call for all champion and reserve champion breeds. Please bring your animals to the gate.
Well, a very nice class, commercial heifers, and it's close. I'm going to say that there's some give and take in both these heifers. The bigger heifer obviously is more impressive because of her size. I'd like to change her in her heart girth. I'd like to give her a little more heart. Maybe just see her come down just a little truer up through her front and just a little straighter off her hind leg than I'd like her to be. But very impressive, and I think it gives you a pretty good place to start, and really I could argue both ways. I like the cow look of the heifer in second. In fact, I come really, really close to switch them, and then when she gets in motion, she's a little short-strided as well, and so there's some trade-offs. I think this one's going to make a really good cow, though, and I'll think about them probably tonight. I'm thinking about switching them. The heifer right behind him, another purple ribbon winner, very neat and attractive, maybe not quite as where I'd like her up in her neck and in her heart girth as well, but very well presented, nice-looking heifer calf. Young lady's heifer, the first blue, bigger rib than the heifers right behind her. I think if she gets rid of that old winter coat, you'll appreciate her more because she's a pretty good heifer. Some rib and some volume to her. Then a really neat, attractive, fresh heifer this young man has. I like that about her. I just like to see her have a little more flank and just a little more durability, but I think she's a nice heifer, and he's done a super job of preparing her to show. The heifer that completes the class will make a nice cow. She's very functional in the way she's put together. I think to me she's pounds lighter than some of the other heifers, but a lot of that's how she's been managed. But she's a good, useful heifer. Let's give them a round of applause. A nice class of heifer calves.
Your top female commercial stocker feeder, receiving purple, Caleb Schnelly. Second place, Rachel Beeler. Third place, Carly Raines. Running out the class with 3 blues is Natalie Dean, Carter Holtmeyer, and Dayton Dorn. Comes selection for your champion or reserve champion stocker feeder. Out of the male stocker feeder class is Lane Schnelly and Savannah Mason. Out of the female stocker feeder class, got Caleb Schnelly and Rachel Beeler. Champion Commercial Stocker Feeder Award, sponsored by Beeler Cattle. Reserve Champion, sponsored by CMT Cattle.
Well, I think you could make a case for either one of these two, the male or the female. The blonde-colored calf is very useful. I think he has a lot of future to him. Make this young man a bull that'll be very sellable, or he could use him himself. The heifer calf, really impressive. She's a bigger, older-looking heifer calf that I think has a nice look to her. I just mentioned just minutes ago what I'd change about her, but I do think she's very impressive. Our reserve black bull calf, a little shorter in his stride, but very neat, and young lady does a nice job of showing him. Our reserve heifer is one of the real cowy ones we've seen. Again, if I were to change her, it'd be off a hind leg. To me, I think the two that fit together the best are the black heifers. I like this blonde-colored bull, but I'm going to use your 2 heifers to be champions in this division. Congratulations.
Champion Commercial Stocker Feeder, shown by Caleb Schnelly of DeWitt. Reserve Champion came out of that same female stocker feeder class, shown by Rachel Beeler of Sterling. All right, we've finally come to the last class of the day. That's going to be for the overall champion and reserve champion stocker feeder. Coming in the gate should be our champion Angus, Reese Barnard of Beatrice. Reserve from that breed was Baylor Barnard. Champion Galvez was Ruby Goes of Cortland. Limousine was Carter Sims of DeWitt. Reserve champion was Weston Whitwer of Wymore. Red Angus champion was Natalie Tronick of Wymore. Shorthorn, Sage Holtmeyer of Plymouth. Out of the Semitals, Luke Katz of Beatrice. Reserve champion Semital was Caden Allington of Wymore. Foundation Semital, champion L.C. Warner of Wilbur. Reserve champion Carly Rains of Dorchester. And out of that last award class was Caleb Schnelly of DeWitt for the commercial champion. Rachel Beeler of Sterling was the reserve. Once again, this is for Grand and Reserve champion stocker feeder here at the 2022 Gage County Fair.
Well, it's been my pleasure. I've enjoyed working with these young folks. I hope I haven't bored you with my dialogue, but let's thank them one more time, and I'll pick your champions in the commercial. Or I should say stocker feeder. I really will talk about them real quickly. The Angus Bull is very useful. A lot of performance. I think this young lady's got a very desirable calf. I like him. The heifer right behind the Galvey heifer, I believe, is big-bodied, really going to have some power through the middle part of her body. A lot of rib, just a very useful high-performance heifer. A Limousine Bull, just a calf that has some look, some muscle. He's probably a bit younger than some of the other calves out here, but he's a good kind of calf. Our Red Angus heifer is very, very useful. I like her kind. I think she looks like a heifer calf ought to look like, and yet there's worlds of volume and body to her. I like that about her quite a bit. Shorthorn steer calf, I think as we watch him mature, you're going to like him. Today's obviously a little greener, so it's kind of to his disadvantage, but it's not all bad to be green as a calf because you can kind of control how you can keep him looking fresh later on, and I think he'll be fine. Calf right behind him, the third calf, I believe, is a Semital. Very, very good calf. Come out of a nice group. And then the heifer, the foundation behind her, is a very, very good heifer. And there was a pair in that particular class that it could have went either way and been fine. But she's just got that cow look to her. Really, really desirable in her hip and hind leg. Then our big commercial calf that just come out of the last class, you have to think she's impressive because of her growth and her length. Just a very, very good one. As I said earlier, I'd like to change her structurally off both ends. She may get just a little upright, just a little straight in her hock, but that's a very, very good, eye-appealing kind of a calf. To me, though, the one that hits me the hardest is this Red Angus heifer. She'll be your champion. For reserve, it gets really, really close. But I just like this young lady's black heifer down there, the second from the end. And that class that she come out of kind of proved it for her. She'll be your reserve. Congratulations, young lady.
Congratulations. Your champion stocker feeder at the 2022 Gage County Fair and Expo goes to Natalie Tronick of Wymore. And the reserve champion stocker feeder, L.C. Warner, also of Wilbur. While everyone's here, let's give one more big round of applause to Kevin Jensen for making the trip up here to Beatrice today. Great to have him. We went through a lot of stock. Great showman, great quality here at Gage County. Thanks everyone for attending, and we'll see you next year.
Right, he was kind of, I think it's, I forget what it's called, ketosis or whatever, like there.